So we've got Tim from Sunrock here, and really Tim's going to explain to you the difference that automation and Infusionsoft has added to the business to help the business and himself gain more productivity into how they operate and also how they produce sales quotes and sales conversion, so to speak. So Tim, I was just wondering if it was possible for you to kind of explain how your system worked before automation and Infusionsoft kicked in.
Well, it didn't work before, James. Before we got involved with you guys. Very simply, we had a very analog system. So everything was done on paper, handwritten. There was a lot of people involved in from the beginning of getting an inquiry to getting a quote out to the salesperson actually being able to follow that up. What we've been able to do with the transformation that we've put in is change our process from, in some cases, taking 3 weeks from when a customer first inquired about a balcony, and we've managed to narrow that down to around about 10 minutes. So, I mean, it's a huge change from a customer's perspective. I think there were a fair few problems before with how things were being done, and that's why the time was so long. But with your and Terry's help, you know, we've been able to not just adjust the system that we're using, but also our process around that system as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And so we went through quite a few, I suppose, looked at the detail of the process, because there was a lots of moving parts to it, wasn't there? So you had different.
Yeah. So do you want me to explain that? Okay. Yeah, so we had an inquiry would come in the door. We get an email, right? That would then be sent to the relevant salesperson. That salesperson would then make contact with the customer. They would then send what we would call an inquiry form, which is like a handwritten form where they tick boxes and things into the administrative department of the business, who would then cost the job, get the job drawn up as a full drawing. That would then get sent to me to apply selling prices, margins, etc., which would then go back to the administrative people in the business, who would then put the quotation on our accounting system. And then a copy of that quotation would be sent to the salesperson for them to send it out to the customer. What we do now is the inquiry comes in, the salesperson reviews that inquiry, they cost it themselves, and they quote it, all within the templates that are built within Infusionsoft. So that I did one just before we got on the phone just now. It took me literally, well, I'm quick at it, but it took me about 4 minutes to do it. Whereas previous, it probably would have taken days.
Yeah, and that was the difference, isn't it? Because you kind of went from a 2 to 3 week, sometimes week to 3 week process, with multiple individuals involved, very manual, to now push buttons, enter data, send off.
Yeah, we have much more control as well. So there's less people involved, so less mistakes, less data flying around over email, and we've the way that the system's been set up is that it's not like they can undercost something. You know, if they cost for 10 meters of balustrading, that's the price it will be. So for example, you know, before I really couldn't take any time off, because I'd have to double check absolutely everything was correct, so that when a quote went out, there wasn't mistakes and that the correct margins were on there and that we weren't going to lose money, essentially. Now the way that the system has been developed, it means that I can actually step away from that process and concentrate on other things, such as selling the business, or, you know, have a more sort of helicopter view of how we're running the business, and I can just leave them to do their jobs without my involvement.